Yeah, good evening, one and all. In today's lecture, we will discuss about data types and variables in Java. In continuation to previous lecture, what data types Java supports and how variables can be declared in Java and how memory is allocated for these variables and how much memory is allocated for these variables, various types of variables in Java. Okay, so that we'll look into in this lecture. So before that, I would like to give one tip about Java. Java is a strongly typed language. This is very, very important. Okay, so what do you mean by strongly typed language? That means every variable has a type. Type in the sense data type. Every variable has a type and every expression has a type and every type is strictly defined. Okay, so that means every variable must have a data type. Without giving the data type of the variable, we cannot use that variable. Okay, so that is called a strongly typed. We must define a data type for the variable when we declare the variable. And even when you write an expression, okay, and when you evaluate that expression, then finally it results into some data type value. So this way, Java strictly defines a type for every variable and every expression. And the second thing is all assignments, explicit assignment, or sometimes it may be using parameter passing in method calls or in function calls. You may be passing actual parameters and they will be copied into formal parameters in function calls. Okay, so that is also one kind of assignment. Okay, so these assignments are checked for type compatibility. That means when you assign one variable to another type of variable, okay, so whether they are both are of same data type or not. Okay, Java checks this type compatibility when it performs assignments. And if you are trying to assign a wrong data type or wrong value to a variable which is of another data type, then immediately Java reports error. Both should match. Okay, so that's why it is called strongly typed language. Then there are no automatic conversions or coercions of conflicting types. Okay, so in some languages, what happens automatically, some internal conversion will happen. Okay, so one data type is converted. If you assign different data types, then the type will be, one type will be converted to other type automatically. But in Java, there is no automatic coercion or conversion happens. Okay, so that's why you must assign only compatible types to each other. So what happens when you write some expressions in your program, and when you compile, the Java compiler checks all expressions and parameters to ensure that the types are compatible. That means if you trying to assign wrong type, or if you are trying to pass a wrong type of parameter, immediately during the compile time itself, the Java reports the error. Okay, so these compatibility checking, type compatibility checking will be done during the compile time only. So immediately the Java compiler reports error. So these are the points to be remembered about Java is strongly typed language. Why Java is strongly typed language? Now any type mismatches or errors. Okay, and these errors must be corrected before the compiler will finish compiling the class. That means you have to go back to your program and try to assign proper type to variables, or try to pass parameters which are compatible to each other. Now, having known this, Java is strongly typed language. Now, let us see what are the primitive data types supported in Java. So, Java defines 8 primitive types of data. There are 8 primitive data types defined in Java. What are those? Byte, short, int, long, char, float, double, and boolean. There is a new type in Java, boolean, which is not available in a C++. But latest versions of C11 version also supports this boolean type. Okay, right. So these are coming to Java. These are the 8 primitive types supported. Okay. Now these 8 types can be classified into 4 groups. You can group them into 4 types. Okay. So first one is integer numbers. Okay. So this group integer numbers or integers contains byte, short, int, and long. These 4 comes under a integer group. Okay, all these 4 types are integers only: byte, short, int, and long, and which are nothing but whole numbers and signed numbers. Please remember, all these are signed numbers only. Signed numbers means it uses 1 bit for storing the sign. It uses 1 bit for storing the sign. Then the second group is floating point numbers. So this group contains float and double types. Okay, so there is float and double. These two comes under floating point group here. Okay, so this group contains the numbers with a fractional precision. That means with the decimal point, numbers with the decimal point comes under this. Then characters. Okay, so this group contains char data type, which represents symbols in a character set like letters and numbers. All the characters can be represented using this data type. Then the last one is Boolean type. So this group contains the data type Boolean. Okay, so which is a special type. It is a special type for representing true or false values. In Java, we can represent these true false values using this Boolean type. So let us look into these types one by one in detail. Now, primitive types represents single values. Please remember, okay? All the primitive types, they represent single values, not complex objects. Okay, so you cannot define complex objects using those primitive types. When you say int A, you can store only one value in that. If you say char ch, you can store only one character. Only one value, single value can be stored by using these primitive types. Okay, so we said that Java is object oriented. Okay, but these primitive types are not defined as object oriented. Okay, so they are defined as in C++. These primitive types are not a object type of definitions. Please remember. C++, in C++, they allow the size of an integer to vary based upon the dictates of the execution environment. That means in which environment you are executing the C program or C++ program. Based on that, the size of integer varies. For example, if you are executing on a 16-bit machine, then integer takes 2 bytes. Integer takes 2 bytes. If your same program, if you are executing on a 32-bit machine or 64-bit machine, then integer occupies 4 bytes. That's how the execution environment dictates the size of integer in a C++. Okay, is it same in Java? But Java is different. Okay, so because of a portability requirement in Java, we said Java is portable. Okay, so that means if you write a Java program on one machine and if you execute on another machine, okay, so then you should not get any error or you should not get any incompatibility between these data types. Okay, so that is called portability property. So since Java is made portable, all data types have strictly defined range. Okay, that means the data types are having the same number of memory bytes, whether it is 16-bit machine or 32-bit machine or 64-bit machine. Okay, so integer always occupies 4 bytes. in Java. That's how the Java is designed. Okay, so JVM allocates memory for these data types, primitive data types. So for example, an int is always 32 bits in Java. That means when you declare a variable of type int, it takes the memory, 32 bits of a memory it takes. Okay, so regardless of the particular platform, that is what the beauty of Java is. Okay, whether you are running on 16-bit platform or 32-bit platform or 64-bit platform, Java int is always 32 bits in Java. Now, how integers are defined? So Java defines 4 integer types by using these keywords: byte, short, int, and long. These 4 are the integer types, and all these are signed type. Signed type means there are positive and negative values we can store in this. Okay, and please remember, Java does not support unsigned type. That means unsigned means there are no negative numbers, positive only integers. Okay, so that kind of numbers, unsigned numbers are not supported in a Java. That means there is no keyword unsigned in Java. In C, C++, you have unsigned data type, but here unsigned type is not available. All are signed type only. That means 1 bit is allocated for storing the sign. This is another important point to be remembered. Okay, now if you see the range of each data type, now see long data type. Okay, so width is 64 bits. That means how much memory it occupies? 8 bytes. 8 bytes of memory it occupies, and this is the range of values. This is the range of values. Okay, on the negative side, this is the number. Okay, so 3 plus 3. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 3 is 18 plus 1, 19. 19 digit number. You can store a 19 digit up to 19 digit number using long. Okay, so integer occupies 32 bits. It means 4 bytes. Okay, and this is the range of values. And short int takes 16 bits. And this is the range of values. And byte, a byte, that is 1 byte. 1 byte means 8 bits. So it occupies 8 bits. And this is the range of values. So how this range of values will be calculated? Okay, now just I'll show here. For 1 byte, I'll demonstrate here. Okay, the range of values. Now, for finding out range of values, see 8 bits. Okay, so that means when you have 8 bits, all the 8 bits are like this. Say, for example, 8 bits I'm storing here. So 7 bits are used for storing the actual number, and 1 bit is used for storing the sign here. Okay, 1 bit is used for storing the sign here. Okay, so this is called as a sign bit. This is called as a sign bit. Okay, so if the sign bit is 0, if the sign bit is 0, it indicates that it is a positive number. If the sign bit is 1, it indicates that it is a negative number. That means this entire thing represents a negative number if this is 1 here. Okay, if this is 0, then this entire thing represents a positive number. Okay, so now sign bit you can have 0 followed by all 7 zeros initially. This is the lowest number you can store. 2, 0, then all ones you can store. This is the highest number you can store. Highest number you can store in a 8-bit memory. Yes or no? Okay, so positive numbers. 0 means positive side. So that means 0 means positive, all zeros. What is the number it indicates? 0. Plus 0 it indicates. Okay, and this is positive number. 0 means plus 0, and all ones here. Okay, so all ones it indicates what? See, 2 power 0, 2 power, how you can convert into decimal? 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, 2 power 5, 2 power 6 here. Okay, so 2 power 6 means 64. 64 plus 32 plus this one. Okay, so if you add this, it is nothing but 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and 64. So if you add these, then you will get a value of 127. Okay, so that is the maximum positive value what you can store plus 127 you can store. 02 plus 127. This is the maximum positive value. Similarly, you can have the sign bit as 1. Okay, 1 followed by all zeros, 2, 1 followed by all ones. This is the lowest number you can store. 8 bits in 8 bits. Okay, so when you have sign bit as 1, it indicates that this is a negative number. Okay, so 1 followed by all ones. This indicates in 2's complement form it is stored. This indicates minus 128. It indicates minus 128. Okay. So on the negative side, you can store minus 128. So that's why what is the range of values that you can store here? Minus 128 to plus 127. Okay. So you can just remember by using simple formula is there. Okay. If it is 8-bit memory allocated. Okay. So just you can say 1 bit is allocated for sign, then remaining 7 bits will be used for storing the actual value of the variable or the number. Okay, so 7 bits are available for storing the value. Okay, so then how to get this range of values? By you can remember like this. Okay, so it is minus 2 power of 7 2 plus 2 power of 7 minus 1. So 2 power of 7 is minus 128. 2 minus 128 minus 1 means 127. You can apply the same formula to this here. Okay. So 16 bits are available. 16 bits means 1 bit is for sign. Then how many remaining 15 bits are available for storing the value here. Okay. So how do you get this range? It is nothing but okay. So if I erase this, it is minus of 2 power 15 2 plus 2 power 15 minus 1. This is the formula. So 2 power 15 is 32,768. Okay, minus 1 means 767. On the positive side, 1 less it is. Similarly, 32 bits. That means we have only 31 bits per number. So it is minus 2 power 31. This is the value here. Okay, 2 minus 2 power 31 minus 1 means this is the value you will get. Similar is the case with this long type. Okay, so you can check out these values in calculator. This is how we'll get range of values for a integer types here. So remembering these values is very difficult. So you can use this formula to remember the values. Now this is about the integer types. Okay. Now floating point types. Floating point types are also known as real numbers. Real numbers means numbers containing a decimal point. Okay, so numbers with a decimal point and a fractional part, you can say they are called as a real numbers, and these are used when evaluating expressions. Like say, for example, you want to find out weight or height. Okay, so those are real type of numbers. Height is 5.2, we'll say 5.1. Such kind of numbers we need to express using these floating point types. So there are two floating point types in Java, double type and float type. So float type takes 32 bits, double type takes 64 bits, and these are the approximate range of values it can store. Okay, so 4.9 E minus 324. What is the meaning of this? 4 E minus 124. Okay, so it is nothing but 4.9 into 10 power of minus 324. It is okay. So 10 power of 324 to 1.8. 1.8 into 10 power of plus 308. That means 1 followed by 308 zeros. That much big number we can store here. That is the meaning. Okay, so this is represented using scientific notation. This is called as a scientific notation in this way. It can be written in this way. Similarly, float range is this one, 1.4e minus 45 to 3.4e plus 38. This is the range of values, floating point type. Now, how it can be used? Say, for example, a simple program, if you look, you can use, see, integer type already we discussed in yesterday's class. Okay, int a comma b we can declare and we can use that one. Similarly, float and double type we can declare. For example, if you want to compute area of a circle. Okay, so if we write a program for this, I have declared a class area here. So inside this, I have written main method. Inside the main method, now I have declared three types, pi, r, and a. These are the variable names, which are of type double type here. I am taking them as a double type. So I am assigning r is equal to 10.8 radius. Okay, similarly, pi value I am assigning here. Then I can calculate area here. How? Pi star r. This is expression calculates area. Okay, now I can print that area here. So here, directly you can print a variable value just by concatenating the message with a plus CA, you can say. Okay, so this is how we can use these data types in our program. Now, why I have taken double type here? Okay, float type also we can take. See here, double type, that means more approximate value we can store in double type. In double type, we can store more approximate value. So that's why whenever there is a floating point type number, so better you take it as double type. Now see, double takes 64 bits, float takes only 32 bits. Okay, that is one reason. And second reason is, by default, if you take any floating point number, this is considered as a double type. Okay, we'll discuss that. Okay, so we'll look into another data type of characters. Okay, so to store characters in Java, we use the data type char, C-H-A-R, char. Okay, so it is not same as char in C or C++. In C or C++, char means we can store one character. Okay, so which is of 8 bits long. But here in Java, how much it is? Let us see. So in C, C++, char is 8 bits wide. But in Java, it is 16 bits wide. Char data type takes 16 bits, 2 bytes it takes. Why? Why 2 bytes? Because we need to store different symbols. Okay, so the range of char is 16 bits means 0 to 65,536. These are the range of values that we can store. Up to 65,536 we can store in char type. All the 16 bits are used here. Okay, so why there are no negative chars? All positive characters only we can store. Okay, so there is no like minus a minus b, these kind of chars are not defined, right? So why it is declared as 16 bits? That is very, very important, because Java uses Unicode to represent characters, whereas C uses ASCII code. C uses ASCII code, which is of 8-bit long. Okay, so 8-bit long means 255 symbols only we can represent. 255 symbols only we can represent. But here Unicode means all universal symbols of all the languages like German, French, other languages are also all natural spoken languages symbols we need to represent. Okay, so that's why Java uses because it is a internet language. Okay, so that means in different places the characters are different. Okay, so their language alphabets are different, so it has to implement all those characters. It has to use all those characters. That's why it is declared as a 16 bits. In browser, if we display only English, like, then French people, they don't like. Okay, so that's why Java has implemented 16 bits to store all the characters of all spoken languages. So Unicode defines a fully international character set that can represent all of the characters found in all human languages. So this is the reason why Java character type contains 16 bits. Okay, so simple example program you can see here, character demo. So I have declared a class called as character demo. Okay, so inside that I am writing a main method. Then I have declared two variables, ch1 and ch2, whose data type is char. This is how you can declare character data type. Now ch1 is equal to 88 I am storing. So I said ch1 character type, but I am trying to assign a number here, 88. So what happens internally? The character, equivalent character representing this 88 will be stored into ch1. If you see ASCII chart, I'll just show this ASCII chart. Let's open the browser. Let me open the browser. So if you say ASCII chart or ASCII table, now you can just see this ASCII table. Any one ASCII table you can see here. Okay, so see here, these are decimal values and these are hexadecimal values, and these are the ASCII characters represented by that. Okay, so here you have only 43 characters shown here. So then remaining ASCII values you can see here. Okay, right. Decimal values just you can see here. Okay, so decimal you can see here, and this is the third one, 88. Now see, you can just see here, 88. Okay, so 88 equivalent character is what? X here, capital X. Okay, so when you assign the number 88 to a character, then the equivalent character will be stored there. So X will be stored in that one. Is it clear? Okay, so that means internally character is treated as integer only. That's why we can do this kind of assignment. So if you want to store X value, then you can assign in this way. ch1 is equal to 88. Nothing but you are storing capital X in ch1. Or if you want to store the character Y explicitly, you can assign like this, but you must enclose that in a single quotes. ch2 is equal to capital Y. Then when you print ch1 and ch2, then it means capital X space capital Y it prints. This is how we can use a character data type in a Java programs. Now, since I said characters are character variables behave like integers, so you can do some arithmetic on this. You can perform some arithmetic operations on these characters also, just like integers. Say simple example program, if you look into, say char demo 2 class I have defined here. Okay, so inside the main method, I have declared a variable ch1 of type character type. Then I'm assigning capital B to ch1. Then I am printing ch1 contains. Then it prints capital B. Afterwards, I am incrementing this. See, that means I am performing some arithmetic operation on this ch1 plus plus I said incrementing. So when I increment B is incremented, B plus 1 is done. So B plus 1 means what happens when you do incrementation? Capital B value is what is the ASCII value of capital B? $88 you said. Okay, so 67. 67 is capital A and 68 is capital B here. Okay, so 68 plus 1 will be done. 68 plus 1 will be performed there. Okay, so internally it performs like this. When you say ch plus plus, okay, so internally what happens? Capital B value is 68. Okay, so 68 plus 1 will be performed and it results into 69, and equivalent ASCII character for this 69 is capital C, and when you print a capital C will be printed there. Okay, so this kind of arithmetic operations we can perform on character variables, because character variables behave like integers. They behave like integers. We can do this. Okay, so let us just demonstrate this. Let us execute this code, and we can see, we can confirm the results. So I'm quickly copying this code here. So let me open a new empty notepad file. Just I'm copying this here. Okay, so I'll save this program. Say save as. What is the file name? Char demo 2. Okay, so let us save this as char demo 2. So char demo 2.java. Make this type as all files. Okay, so just save it. Then we'll compile this code. Okay, so I say Java C char demo 2, char demo 2.java. Now ch1 is equal to C here. Okay, so single quotes. This is a different single quote I copied from PowerPoint. No? Okay, so better you remove those single quotes and again type here in Notepad, so that it won't be different. Okay, right. So again you compile. Yes, it is okay. Okay, so now I run this code. I say Java char demo 2. Now see here, ch1 contains capital B, ch1 is now C. That means after incrementation, now you can see ch1 contains capital C value. Okay, so this kind of arithmetic operations we can perform on a increment decrement operations we can perform on a character variables. Okay, so when it is incremented, it is nothing but you are moving it to the next character. That means the next character will be stored in that variable. If you are decrementing, the previous character will be stored into that variable. Okay, so here the point to be noted is on character variables, we can perform these increment decrement operations. Okay, because character variables behave like integers. They behave like integers. Right? Then the last type are Boolean. Okay, so we have a Boolean primitive type for logical values. Logical values means either true or false. These are the two possible values we can store in this Boolean type. Okay, so generally, where we'll get these Boolean values? Generally, when we check for condition. Okay, in if statements, when we check some condition, finally it evaluates to either true or false. Okay, so in such case, we can use these Boolean types. Okay, it returns this Boolean value true or false here. Okay, so how it can be declared in the program, just see here. I'm just demonstrating these Boolean values here. We can write a simple program called bool test class. Okay, so in this I have a main method. I have declared a variable called as b, which is of type Boolean. Then afterwards we can store b is equal to false. This is allowed. In C you cannot do this because there is no word called false true. Okay, but in Java you can do this. B is equal to false, and when you print a b value, it prints b is false, and afterwards I'm storing b is equal to true. Then when I print b is true, it prints. Okay, so Boolean value generally to control the if statements we'll use. Sometimes in relational operations, okay, if we use, then the final result is either true or a false here. Either true or a false here. Okay, so if you use say 100 greater than 39 is, and if you write this, then finally this 100 greater than 39 is evaluated and it results to true here. So it prints true. 100 greater than 39 is true, it prints. So for such logical values, we can use this Boolean type here. Okay. And there is a tip to be remembered. Floating point returns in Java default to double precision type. Okay. So that means if you declare any floating point number, by default, it is taken as a double precision type, double type. Its data type becomes a double type. Java treats its data type as a double type. For example, say you declared float x is equal to 3.54. Then in some if statement, you are checking x is equals to 3.54. Okay. So here you are using a constant here. The literal, this is called the literal here. Okay. So this 3.54 on the RHS side is considered as a double type, whereas x is of which type? Float type. X is of which type? Float type. Okay. So float will have less precision and double will have more precision. Precision means after the decimal point, how many digits we can store. In float, we can store, say, for example, 14 digits. Okay. So in double, you can go up to 32 digits like this after the decimal point. That is called the more accurate precision. So since this is considered to be double type and this is to be float type, so what happens here? Condition becomes true or false. We need to check. What is your answer? What do you expect? Sejan,
Yes, sir.
is it true or false?
True, sir.
True. Okay, so you assume it as true. Let me demonstrate this. People confuse here. Okay, so because it seems to be true, what happens? Let us look into. So what I do is I define a class. Okay, so here it is double test, I say double test class. Okay, so inside this I define a main method public static void main, then say string args. So here what we do is we define a floating point type variable x. Okay, so then we assign, say, x is equals to 3.54. Okay, so then we check the condition here. If x is equals to 3.54. Okay, so we'll just print a message, say printf true will print. True will print. Okay, so otherwise else will print false. Sorry, so here I'm very sorry because I'm more to C language these days. That's why I'm getting. So here system dot out dot println. True. Okay, so similarly system dot out dot println. Here we'll write false. So what is expected here? What is the output you are expecting from this? Let us save this program. This is double test. Test.java. So we save the program as double test.java. Okay, so save it. Now we run this. So let us compile this code first. Compile this code first. So say Java C double test.java. Yes, so Now see, incompatible types, possible lossy conversion from double to float, it is saying. Okay, so now it is saying that it is incompatible. You declared a variable of type x and you are trying to store some floating point number. X is equal to 3.54. When you try to store here, so here it says error. Okay, that means this side and left hand side and right hand side both are incompatible types. Okay, so I said no, Java is strongly typed language. All expressions are checked for their compatibility, whether left hand side and right hand side both are of same type or not, it checks. If there is any mismatch, it reports error. That is what is happening. Why there is a mismatch? You may think that it is a floating point number, 3.54. Okay, floating point number. Okay, but still it reports an error. Still it reports an error. Yes or no? Okay, so let us do this way. Let us do this way. Say x is equals to 3.54. Something I assign here. Okay. I'm saving this program. Then let us compile this code. Okay. So see again, same way. Even at the initialization or assignment, if you perform, now it says incompatible types. We need to understand this, why it is giving this. Okay, so this is where generally people make a mistake. Okay, in C, we don't get any error when we assign such kind here. Okay, when we do such kind of assignment, 3.54. Okay, so let me remove this statement. Now we are getting error here, 3.54. Okay, why? Because by default, this literally is treated as double type. And here this x is of which type? Floating point type. Okay, so that means this contains only 32 bits and this value will be stored in 64 bits. This value will be stored in 64 bits. Okay, so here if I demonstrate with the help of diagram. Okay, so let me just show this in the form of diagram. Okay, so just see here. Now x is of 32 bits. Okay, that means for x only 32 bits memory will be allocated. Okay, so 32 bits memory will be allocated. Okay, and this 3.54 is of a double type. That means it will have 64 bits. That means it will be stored in a 64 bits. This number will be stored in a 64 bits. So what you are doing, you are trying to store these 64, incorporate these 64 bits into 32 bits. 64 bits you are trying to store into 32 bits. Okay, so what happens here? Only 32 bits data will come here, but remaining 32 bits are gone. Remaining 32 bits of data are gone here. Okay, so that's why it is saying loss of if you see the error message, now see possible lossy conversion from double to float. Okay, that means there is a loss of data. There is a loss of data, it says. Obviously, yes or no? So 64 bits you are trying to copy into 32 bits. What happens? Only 32 bits will be copied into this. What about remaining 32 bits? They are just thrown out. They are just discarded. That means there is a loss of information. There is a loss of information. Okay, so we do not know whether it copies the first 32 bits or the last 32 bits into this x here. Into this x, it copies the first 32 bits or last 32 bits. Okay, so only 32 bits data is coming, remaining 32 bits are gone. That's why there is a loss of information. There is a loss of information. Okay, so both are incompatible types and Java cannot perform this kind of operation. Java cannot perform this kind of operation. That's why it is reporting error. But in C, you can do this. In C, you can do this. Okay, there won't be any error in C. Okay, then how to overcome this? How to overcome this? That means explicitly you have to tell this is a floating point number. You have to tell that this is a floating point number. How you can? By suffixing it with a letter F. By suffixing it with the letter F. Okay. So when you suffix this with the letter F, then what happens? This will be treated as a floating point number, 32 bits only. Then it stores X value as a 3.54. Okay. Now let us run this code. Now the code has been copied successfully. Okay. So now we can see Java. Okay. So double test. Now see, it has printed false. Still there is a ambiguity in the program. Okay, so even after you made it as a 3.54F, you may be thinking that 3.54 is stored into X, and when X is equal to 3.54, if you say, then you may be thinking that it is true, and you may be expecting output to be true. But what is the output printed here? False. That means the condition became false. Why? Why it has become false? Okay, so no doubt in X 3.54 is stored. No doubt in X 3.54 is stored. When you say 3.54 F, 3.54 is stored in X. Okay, but by the time it reaches to this here, this condition here, what happens means this is a floating point number, and I said this is treated as any literal floating point literal will be treated as double type. Okay, so this is 64-bit number and this is 32-bit number. Both are not matching. When both are not matching, what happens? Condition becomes a false here. When both are not matching, the condition becomes a false here. Okay, so that's why it goes to else here, then it prints a false here. Generally, people commit mistake in this. Okay, so if you want a true to be printed, you have to explicitly say here 3.54 F. 3.54 F. Okay, so in such case, then this is a floating point number and this is a floating point number. Okay, so then both will be of same type, and let us see this time what it prints. Let us compile this code. Okay, again I run this. Sorry, char demo double test. I want to run. True, it has printed. Now you can observe. Okay, so these are all internal things we need to know. How these values or primitive types are stored internally, how they are treated by the Java language. We should know. Now you can see this become, because both are of same types. Both are of same types. Okay, so then the values are equal, and you can see true printed. Okay, so if you remove this F, please remember this is not a floating point number. This is a double type. Okay, and both are not equal here. This is a floating point type and this is a double type. 32 bits you are trying to compare with 64 bits. Obviously, they are not equal. Control goes to else part. That's why you can see false printed here. Is it okay? Did I made it clear? Sejan.
So, like, I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, please.
Like, if we go in the place of float as double, then will it print as true?
Yeah, it will print true here. Okay, so let me just demonstrate. Okay. Obviously, now if you take this as double, and no need of giving this here. Okay, by default it is treated as double type, no?
Yeah.
So that will be double only, and if you consider this X is equal to 3.54, okay, so then let us compile the code again. Okay, right? So this time, for a change, I write this in lowercase so that you will come to know whether it has printed the same thing or not. Okay, otherwise previous program may be executing, you may think. Double test. Okay, right. Yeah, true. It has printed.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, and one more thing, like how could we find out, sir? Because float, they both are in the decimal form. Like,
Yeah, both
do
are
we
in
need to
decimal.
calculate each and every time,
No, no,
or
both
we have to go
both are
with
in
the
decimal. Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead with your doubt.
yeah, actually, my doubt is like both the double and float are in the decimal form. So,
Okay.
like, in order to find either it is a double or it is float, do we need to calculate the number? Or in case, like, if we go with this compilation part, we could find in the command prompt like loosey comparison or whatever.
Lossy
Then we could
compilation.
easily
Yeah.
then we could easily rectify our
Yeah, that's what.
what is error.
When you write programs and when you execute, you'll come to know this is what happened. No, this is
Okay.
what happened. Just see here, incompatible
Yeah,
types.
that's
Okay, but in the first instance, people don't understand. 3.54 is floating point number. Why it is not allowing to store in X?
yeah,
Why it is
exactly.
saying incompatible type? Okay, people don't understand. If you don't read textbooks or if you don't listen to lectures of this kind, then you won't come to know.
Okay.
Okay, so that is what I said in the PPT tip. I said, see here, this is the highest point. Floating point literals in Java. Floating point literals means these numbers, these type numbers. This is just a literal.
Oh,
Okay, so floating point literals in Java default to double precision. That means by default, they are considered as a double type, double data type.
oh, okay.
Okay, so if you know this point and you will remember forever and you can identify why it is becoming false. Generally, if I ask students this program, the same program, if I ask in class, many of the students will say that the answer will be true. If I declare
Yeah.
even this is float, if I declare this as a float, okay, and even if I say this as F, and if I ask and almost 95% students will say the answer will be true, but it prints a false.
Sure,
Okay,
and one
yeah,
more thing is like if we're taking float, you keeping f as the like x is equal to 3.54 f.
yes,
Like, why do we keep f at the end?
yeah. That means if we don't write a suffix this f here. I said no. This is
Yeah,
considered as a double type by the
double
Java.
type.
Okay, this is a
Okay.
constant, no? Floating point
Yes.
constants will be treated, its data type will be treated as double type. And if you suffix it with the F, you are telling the compiler, this you treat this 3.54 as a floating point number.
Okay.
Then it considers this as a floating point time.
Okay.
Okay, so then it can store into X easily. Otherwise, it is giving error, no?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Sir, and if it is like if we go with the same problem but the different number, and if it is like quietly opposite, if the number is in double and we take it as a float,
Yeah.
can we give their D, sir, in the place of F?
Yeah. You can use D here. You can use
Okay.
small d or
If it is
capital
like
D.
quietly opposite. Okay. Okay.
It will be treated as double type.
Okay.
Okay. So see, if I give it as double type, no need actually. By default, it is treated as double only, no?
Yeah.
This is redundant actually. You won't get any error. You won't get any
Yeah. Not
error.
for this number, sir. Like
Okay.
if the number is different.
Yeah, any number you can take.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to know whether double, if I declare the data type as double and if I store floating point number in that, will it be stored or not? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So let us look into that. See double data type I'm declaring. Okay. Then I declare this as floating point type.
Yes.
Is it?
Oh no,
So
sir. My
uh,
doubt is like not floating point,
D.
like for the float, yeah, D.
D you can store. Okay. But for float, if you declare 3.54 D, still you will get error.
Yeah, not
Because
for the 3.54 number. We have to go with the other number.
any number, it is a fraction number, no? Any fraction
Yeah,
number
yeah.
you take, okay? So it is 3.54 or 13.54 or 135.5 something. Any number
Okay.
you take, that will be considered as a double type number by default. Okay. So if you precede it with a D, by default it is double only. So this is redundant. Okay. So that's why people don't use D there. So if you use
Okay.
F here, this will be treated as floating point type.
Floating point.
Okay. Now it can store into floating point data type. Now in this case, what happens? If say this is floating point type, now I am trying to store in a double type variable. Will I get any error?
Yeah, so we'll be getting false, I guess.
No. In this statement, previously, when I declared this X as floating point type, if I try to assign 3.54, I got error, no? In this C here, incompatible types I got. See here, now see float X is equal to 3.54. If I say, then I got error here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
we'll even get error here.
yeah,
Like,
if I
we should
declare
remove
X as
it.
double and I try to store a floating point number in this, will I get any
Yeah.
error?
Yeah, so like we have to remove F, sure. Then it will be okay.
If we keep F, do you expect any error?
Yeah, sir, I think.
Okay, right.
Better
Okay, so we'll see this. We'll see this. Okay, so this you can confirm by executing such kind of programs. When you write such kind of programs and when you test, you will come to know. Okay,
Okay.
right. So let us just what I do is this is true. Okay, so something new message I will include here so that we can confirm this is the same program executing there. Right. Okay. So what I do is I test this, compile successfully. Okay. So double test. Now see false.
Okay. Not getting any error.
So we are not getting any error. Why? Why we are not getting any error? 3.54 is a floating point number. And X is of which type? Double type.
Double.
Okay. Now I'll demonstrate in terms of memory diagram. What happens means, okay. So here X is double type, no? X is double type. That means how much memory is allocated for X? 64 bits of memory will be allocated for X. Yes or no? Since it is a double
Yes,
type,
sir.
64 bits. Okay. And
Yes.
3.54 F, if you say 3.54 F, if you say this is a floating point type, that means how much memory it consumes? It is stored in a 32 bits. Yes or no? Float
Yes.
occupies 32 bits.
32 bits.
32 bits. Okay. So what we are doing, we are trying to assign this X is equal to 3.54. That means you are storing this 32 bits into 64 bits. It's like a small container you are inserting into a big container. Can we insert or not?
We can insert, but we lose the rest of the
No. Why?
bits.
See, there are 64 bits. You are copying only 32 bits. Up to 32 bits, they will be
Okay,
copied.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
Yes,
remaining
sir.
32 bits will be
Empty.
zeros, remaining 32 bits.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like this.
Yeah.
So in a big container, we can always insert a small container.
Yes, sir.
In big box, we can insert a small box. But in this case, see, 32 bits is a small box, 64 bits is a big box. So big box you are trying to insert into a small box, which is not possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means
Okay.
loss of data will occur in this case. That is the point to be noted.
Okay.
Clear? So that's why in this
Yes.
case, we are not getting any error. Comfortably, all the 32 bits will be copied into X, then whatever remaining 32 bits, they will be stored as zeros. So that's why here, this message, this stored comfortably. We are not getting any error here. But still, when you execute this, you are getting false. Can you tell me the reason why?
false here because I guess if we remove f, sir, we'll get true.
No,
Because the
even if
number
F,
is
see the same program I executed here, then still I got what is I got false. I got false. I got
no, so we got true, sir.
no.
We
See
didn't
here,
get
this is true. I changed this. That's why. If it is true, it has to print this message. This is true from this program.
yes.
Okay, but here I got false. Here I got a false here. So after small lowercase letters true, I executed, then I got false. That means this condition becoming false here. Same case. Now X is a double type in which you have stored only 32 bits. You stored only 32 bits data. Okay, but here this 3.54 is stored as a 64-bit number.
Okay.
64-bit number. It will be stored as a 64-bit number like this. See here. It will be stored as 64-bit number. Okay. But here you have stored only 32 bits. So what you are doing? You are comparing 64 bits. No doubt here 64 bits, but only 32 bits are valid. Remaining 32 bits are zeros. Remaining 32 bits are zeros. So here in these 64 bits, the first 32 bits may be zeros and second 32 bits may be containing that 3.54. So that's why when you compare, this may not be equal to this. That's why you will get false condition here. Okay, so you will get the output to be printed as false here. Please remember one thing, floating point number is not equal to a double type number. That's it.
Okay.
And these are the types of questions asked in examinations, programming questions. MCQs means these are the only. What is the output from this program? Such kind of questions will be asked. So if you understand how internally it will be stored memory wise, then you can answer these easily. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So this is one tip. So here literal 3.54 is considered as a double type. So to specify float, we can use capital F or small f. We can append. Okay. Right. Second tip. Now, the values of true and false do not convert into any numerical representation. There is no numerical representation for these two values, true and false. Okay. So the true literal in Java does not equal to 1, nor the false literal equal to 0. In C, we say that true is treated as 1 and false is treated as 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But here in Java, true means it is the 4 letters TRUE. That's it. False means it is FALSE. False, these 5 letters only. Okay, there is no numerical representation for this. Please remember. In C, these two values, these two words are not present, true, false. Okay, they will be treated as 1 and 0. This is the difference. Okay, so you should always compare when you are learning a language, you should compare with the previous language which you studied. Then you will come to know the difference between this language and the previous language, C and Java. Okay, right? So in Java, they can only be assigned to variables declared as Boolean. So if you want to assign this word true or this word false, then you must declare a variable of which type? Boolean type. Okay, or you can use in expressions with Boolean operators like A greater than B, such kind of expressions we can use. There, the result is either true or false in Java. Right? So we'll stop here. This is the story about the primitive types.